And I've got an inkling that my little sister's my twin flame. And see, there's this idea that it's a romantic partner, but my sister's essentially, she plagiarizes me throughout life. Basically, for example,
Jack.
Yeah.
You there, Steve?
Oh man, Steve is bugging out.
You guys can hear me or what?
Yeah, now
we can.
Okay, I wanted to tell you we're live on YouTube.
Okay.
And, we're streaming.
Right. Okay. Carry on, Jack.
Just make sure you know. You can work on my bandwidth issue.
Steve's turned into a picture of an Arnu for the day. You're an Arnu now, Steve. Yeah.
But go ahead.
It's just like she always ends up copying the path that I'm on. Like, for example,
Jack right now, and we're under the sun. That has to do with the Son of Man, the Son of God. So take it away, fellas.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Was that bit not live before?
I don't know.
Or were we live all the way along? Because we're in the middle of a conversation here.
We were not live.
So we're live now. All
right. Let's start again. I was just saying, Jack was just asking me what's been going on, and I'm just saying that I've been through a twin flame process that's taken almost 9 months, and it was necessary in that the earth is flooded with angels. There's loads of us here, and we've all come in pairs that are twin flame pairs, it seems. And right now, all those pairs are basically meeting up.
Yeah, it's all weird.
Oh. It is. I didn't know about this before.
There's a lot of misinformation in this whole concept that comes out of the New Age.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to discern what aspects of it are true and what is just stuff that people have made up as they go along.
Yeah. I thought people made up all that twin flame stuff until I met mine and realized that it's the most powerful connection there is with it, because the connection I have with this person is now for life. I can't stop it. I can't shut it off, and I can't stop it. I'm basically stuck with it in a way. So you have to deal with it. Because there is the choice, the personal choice that we've come to do something here together. You see what I'm saying? So we're sort of obliged to deal with it as well.
Right.
You can't just say, "Oh, sod that, I'm not interested anymore," because it's gonna ruin your life if you don't deal with it.
So you saying that like an inseparable bond was created?
No, now you're reestablished.
Was reestablished, and now you're inextricably linked.
Yeah. That's right.
And there's no severing the ties. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Can't stop it. Yeah. It's real. It's real. I mean, I didn't believe it for the first 3 months. I just shrugged it off, thinking, "No, you're wasting my time. That's nonsense. It can't be." But it turns out true.
Yeah. Well, when I first came out to California and met my wife, without going into too much detail, things were pretty disastrous, and we both had to go our separate paths and then reconverge once we sorted out problems within our own self, basically. And then only then could a communion occur, essentially. But I mean, it's weird.
Are you saying your wife is you think your wife
right?
Is
Yeah. No, absolutely. And my wife's done a lot of past life regression work where I've appeared in it, and it's all very weird and bizarre. She's very psychic, my wife, unlike me. I've had her scry for me before for angelic. Well, I thought they were invocations, but they turned out to be evocations for her. I'm just like a logical guy in a robe waving this ceremonial blade about and chanting these Hebrew god names and stuff. and like her, like very like logical and like mathematical, the way my mindset was. And when I spoke to her after the session, her experience was so, the gulf between the experience she had and the experience I had was so vast. You know, she started saying that like she was getting this telepathic communication from all these deities. These were spirits of Mars, because I wanted to destroy the negative influences in her life that had plagued her up until that point. So, you know, you bring in the big guns from Mars for that. Well, yeah, because there were some like negative entities hovering around. So I didn't want to destroy the entities, so to speak, because, you know, it's spirit. You can't destroy it. You can't destroy that which is eternal. But I figured I could destroy the influence that they'd had on her, if you see what I mean. So you got to be very selective and careful when you craft that statement of intent, so you don't cause some magical backlash, you know. And speaking on a magical backlash, if you remember, do you remember, Steve, when I talked about banishing the tweakers next door? Is he there?
I don't know.
All right, well,
Yes, I'm here.
yes, he's there. He's there.
I'm
All right,
in
so
the middle of moving my computer around because you guys, I barely can hear you. You guys have been having a good conversation though?
yeah. We're doing all right. Yeah.
Sorry about this, but yeah.
That's all right, Steve.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was a development in that was kind of bad. So, like, right, he asked me to banish them, and the guy was a psychopath, and he was resentful towards him, and he had to wear this persona treading on eggshells around him when he was living in his house, because he didn't want to make him angry or blah. Because he was scared of him. He was shit scared of him. Yeah. So he wanted me to banish him, and he wanted me to attack him as well. And I was like, okay, let's not sugarcoat this Martian archetype. You know, like it's, you know, it's the archetype of war. It's a heavy fucking thing, you know. And he was like, no, I'm sure, right? So Mars is, tobacco rules Mars, right? And there was an ashtray with all these cigarettes outside the house that were the cigarette brand they'd been smoking. So I said to him, okay, well, why don't I take one of these cigarettes, because this has got their DNA on it, and I've got a link for in the ritual, and I can banish them. I'm not sure about attacking him. He's like, no, fuck this guy. He's fucked me over. I want to get back at him. Like, you know, he was very like vindictive and vengeful, right? So I was like, okay, right, I'll do it for you.
Doesn't want to leave it to karma.
well, this is where it develops, right? So, like, a few days after I did the operation, the woman slashes the tires of his motorbike, right? And I thought that was it, right? Turns out, right, months later, after they'd moved out, my neighbor was smoking a cigarette, and the cherry fell into like the tongue of his shoe, and it was this synthetic material, and it caught basically fire, and he got a 3rd-degree burn on his foot and had to go to hospital, right? And he's a diabetic, so the story goes on, he ends up having to have his foot amputated. Now he's got no foot. And I said to him later, because I realized the attack backfired on him when he was smoking a cigarette, and Mars tobacco, I used the cigarette as an energetic conduit, etc. And I said, like, dude, like, you know, are you sure that cigarette I took at the time wasn't yours? And he went, oh yeah, no, actually they were probably all mine. And I was like, well, I've basically done an operation inadvertently to attack you as well. So that you said, is he sure he doesn't want to leave it to karma? He created this karma and asked me to do it. I did it reluctantly. I shouldn't have done it in hindsight. And now he's lost a foot, and he's called Dan. So now I call him Lieutenant Dan. So he can, yeah, I know. Yeah, he's all right about it though. He accepts what happened. And
right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's So
that's the sort of thing I spent years trying to get over, you know, just thinking of taking revenge, because I grew up with Catholics and the only thing I wanted to do was destroy them all.
yeah. Catholics.
When I left school, the only thing I wanted to do was destroy my school, burn it to the ground.
Like Tolstoy style. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Take revenge on the world.
Yeah. The best we did was water bomb it.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got kicked out of school. They got rid of me. Yeah, my grades weren't good enough, so I was out. But yeah, so the moral of the story is that when you work with Mars, and I read about working with the Sephiroth of Gabora in a Dion Fortune book, the Mystical Kabbalah. She said when you work with that, you have to work with Jupiter as well to balance it out. Otherwise, it can be very severe and heavy, and bad things can happen. So, yeah, that's gone in my diary, you know, for sure. Like, you know.
How long ago was that, Jack?
Well, the operation was probably about 9 months ago, and his amputation was about 4 weeks ago.
Oh,
so, you know, but he's ringing up the hospital like, "Where's my fucking foot? I want it back," and they don't know where it is.
Oh God.
So no, he's all right about it though. He's all right about it though. It's because of the diabetes, really. There's this ridiculous diabetes problem in America. Everyone seems to have diabetes. I don't know why, but
well, I don't know whether their eating habit is very good. You know, whenever I see a food portion on an American film or TV, it's like, how can you eat all that food in one go? It's going to feed 2 people.
There are about 20 fast food places, all within a mile radius of my house. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I think there's like 3 McDonald's within 4 miles or something like that, but that's the Yank culture for you. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's that story.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead ever since you mentioned it. I downloaded it. It's free online. You know, you can get a PDF of it easy, and I've been going through it. And to me, it sounds like they know exactly what they're talking about. I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, they're even telling you how to avoid reincarnating in the wrong place or a place you don't want to.
What really interested me about that, it said, make sure if you have to reincarnate into a family where there's high dharma, even reincarnate as a king, like force yourself into that situation. But on this subject though, it's like, because dreams are supposed to prepare you for the Bardo state, right?
Yeah.
And you just like, you think about these dreams you have where you're just totally unconscious, you're running away from things coming after you, because lucid dreaming is really an aberration. It's not normal. And it's quite a daunting prospect, really. I think personally, but yeah.
The Bardo, you're talking about the Bardo?
Yeah, the Bardo. Yeah.
To be honest, I wouldn't say it's a daunting. I know what you mean, because there's a lot in the Book of the Dead. You know, if this happens, do this, and what about closing the womb gate and opening the womb gate, all this sort of thing. You know, I can imagine it's a lot easier than you think, because it's very your thoughts are just superbly fast in the underworld. You know, it almost takes no time to think. So it's not the same state as when you're in physical life, so that you get muddled up by your psyche. There's no psyche to muddle you up in the underworld, you see, so it's crystal clear thinking. So whatever you do, you're going to do the right thing according to what you feel you should be doing. Obviously, if someone's completely ignorant and they enter the Bardo, which is a lot of people on this planet, unfortunately, when they die, they're going to be automatically dealt with, you know?
Well, this is what is alluded to in Pinocchio, because they go to Pleasure Island and they have all these kids that are very nihilistic and, you know, they're evil bastards, basically. That's what they try and portray. And then they're all turned into donkeys. and it's almost as if the moral, a hidden message in that is that if you don't live life according to, like, I don't want to say how you should, but
self-honesty, I would call it self-honesty.
Or self-honesty, yeah, self-honesty. Then you drop down the hierarchy into the animal kingdom, and there's a bit where it talks about you open your eyes and lo and behold, you're a puppy and you're doomed to unimaginable ignorance and slavery.
Yeah,
it's quite haunting, that chapter, when it talks about people who don't even come back into the, I'd say, human or sentient. Well, they drop into the animal kingdom essentially.
But don't be. I wouldn't. I'm never anymore. Am I drawn into the way people express certain things? You can see that they're talking like that simply because when you compare a reincarnated state to a higher state, it's like, oh, woe is me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyone would think, right, isn't it terrible how you had to go into that state instead of the higher state? Well, we've all done it anyway. You do it anyway. You know, it's just a part of the process. If that's what you feel you should do, then you're going to do that. You might get sucked into it. You might get fooled into it. Who knows? I mean, but it's all down to you in the end, you know, and your awareness. It's all down to you and your awareness and the ability you have to find things out as well. You know, I get the impression people think that everything, all the information they need should just be handed to them. But I've never had that. I had to go out and I had to sort of sacrifice to get information and all this sort of thing, you know, that kind of thing. So it's hard won, decent information. It's very hard won. In science, I would never have heard of Walter Russell, for instance. You know, I only heard of it through watching Santos Bonacci, who I'm not that fond of, but I really like Walter Russell.
Yeah, he's off his head, Bonacci. He really needs to take a chill pill. But so go back to the Book of the Dead, Phil. Like, you get these vivid descriptions of these Hindu deities that you'll see at certain points in the transition period. But I was wondering, like, so if you have never studied anything of that pantheon, would you still see those same entities, or would you see the archetypal reflections that your mind is aware of that those entity or gods represent? That seems more. It seems it's been written by Buddhists for Buddhists based on their pantheon and their mystical teachings. You know.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's why you asked that question the other day.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. Yeah. Is it tailored for the Buddhist mind? That's what I meant by that. Yeah.
That's right. It is. Yeah, it is. So he's talking to people who have grown up with and been educated in Buddhist deities and things like that, which was normal for them. So it's in their world. Yeah,
that's
absolutely
interesting.
Yeah. If you grew up with Kabbalah, you'll see Kabbalistic symbolism.
Can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah, he's back.
Yes.
Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, you guys are doing an awesome job. Just keep it up. And excuse me. I'm still working on getting my internet fixed. So.
Right.
All right. Sorry, guys.
That's right, dude. Is that a budgerigard in the background?
That's a bird. Yeah, Quaker.
Yeah. Hey.
Polly.
All right. Yeah, Jack, I was going to say about some of the things I've been reading it this afternoon as well, the Book of the Dead. What was the bit I was reading? Hang on a sec, let me call it up because I've got it on my screen at the moment. Hang on 2 secs. Yeah, you were saying about seeing deities and so on and so forth. Obviously, last time we spoke, I mentioned that what goes on when you enter the Bardo is that your inner mind here inverts itself and just rushes out to infinite proportions timelessly. So it just happens like that. And I'm guessing it's the same as death, because what they're describing there is basically what happens when you ascend. But they're talking about it as though it's death. You know, it's exactly like the Egyptian Book of the Dead. You think they're only talking about death, but really you can apply it to ascension. So they're one and the same thing.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because I remember you saying in the past and I think you said this, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth here, but you explained that you had to be physically alive in creation in order to open your third eye, because you needed a body to do it, right? You can't do it in spirit. You have to do it in manifestation, right? So like I had the idea that you can only ascend if you have a physical birth and then are reborn in spirit while you're alive, right? So after reading the Book of the Dead, do you still think that's the case? Or is it still possible to ascend post-death if you were, say, a learned mystic, for example, like a Manly P. Hall, for example?
So there's quite a lot to say there. The main thing would be that the way they talk about knowing of the light is enough for you to ascend. Well, finding the light while you live is a pretty final event, and it means that I've risen above everything to do with manifestation, in the sense that I am no longer controlled by it. So you're no longer controlled by it. If that's the case, then I will not be sucked into another womb against my wishes, or follow a sweet smell, as it was talking about. If you follow the sweet smell of this womb, you'll be sucked in, and you'll have to go through all the suffering. And they talk about suffering as just normal life.
I just find that thought so daunting and haunting, man. I really do.
I wouldn't worry so much about it, because if you are aware and you're intelligent and you fathom this kind of stuff up front, then you are forewarned. So when you see it, you're forewarned, and you'll know what's going on as it's going on. Right. You are able to conjure anything in that Bardo state, because I conjured two things. One was a membrane of my head and shoulders, which I conjured, and that disappeared immediately as I saw beams of light in the distance, because I was using it to be able to turn around. Right. And the other thing I conjured was a lens. Literally a lens, and it looked real to me, but I invented it. So what you think appears outside you, and one of the issues in the Book of the Dead was that if you have too much, if the spirits and entities seemingly attacking you for a short period in the Bardo, they're from your subconscious and unprocessed material. If they're attacking you, you can imagine a great god that they describe who will smash them all to pieces and destroy them. Right. You see, so it's literally just your imagination that's creating these things. It's your inner mind projected outside in the Bardo. Right. You're an eternal being, don't forget. So that's simply one of your conditions, the Bardo. Yeah, life is another one of your conditions, physical life, in various degrees as well.
Right, no.
But
I get it, but if I compare dreams I've had of late where I've been completely unconscious in that dream state and not conscious of it until I wake up and think about, oh wow, that was a weird dream. So if I compare being in that unconscious dreaming state, then dealing with the Bardo state and integrating those two together, that's why it seems so daunting, because I may be, all this stuff could be happening to me, but I don't realize that what's actually going on. Do you know what I mean? It would be a bit like the Sixth Sense, where I don't realize I've died. These are the initial thoughts that come up, because I think this is a very serious topic.
Yeah.
And you got no chance having any kind of academic discussion about it in the Western world. That's just not even going to be up for debate. You know, well, in Buddhist circles maybe, but generally speaking, no, it's not. So it's not that I'm afraid of it or I'm fearful of it, but it seems like it would be. It seems like there's a lot of preparation work to do and inner work to do while you have the opportunity, so you would be able to deal with it effectively when you do finally die. It's interesting,
right? But don't focus on that for the rest of your life, because really if you look up spiritual illumination on Google and do something really simple like that, the very first issue of spiritual illumination is self-honesty. If you are simply self-honest, you will get there anyway. So I never took in. I read the Book of the Dead years ago, but I didn't take it in. It didn't mean anything to me, you know. So I didn't sort of carry it with me as such. And I've only recently read it again. It's not necessarily something I would worry about reading. You only need one source, as it were, of real truthful information that you can now assimilate and then apply to yourself. And that's what gets you there, basically. The path of knowledge is simply the route to your understanding of the reality you find yourself in. Sure. And your expression just a minute ago sounded like you're not sure about the shut off between, you know, conscious and unconscious. You have no control over that. It's a little bit scary to have no control over your total experience. So what you're doing is gaining that control over your total experience. So that there is this continuity.
Sure. Yeah. But I guess, you know, when you, and maybe people in the chat can relate to this, when you do become conscious in a dream and you become aware that you're dreaming, more often than not, you'll just wake up straight away in bed, like, and you're like, oh, damn it. Like, I was so close. Like the conscious mind kind of just lights up and automatically wakes you up. So like, I'm guessing in that state, you don't have the body for your conscious mind to wake up in as a kind of fallback. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like a fail-safe mechanism that your conscious mind has. Do you know what I mean?
Are you talking about the underworld, the Bardo?
Yeah. No, I'm relating the Bardo to dream state. I'm comparing the two, right? So, like, when you're having a lucid dream, more often than not, you wake up, okay? That your conscious mind has a fail-safe and it will just, you wake up, right? It takes time to be able to bypass that so you can actually stay lucid in the dream state and then explore or whatever, you know? So comparing that to the Bardo state, right? You've died on the physical plane when you're in the Bardo state. So what I'm proposing is that when you become consciously aware of the fact you're in this kind of state, when you're in the Bardo state, which I guess is akin to the dream state.
It's not.
Right, it's not. But what I'm saying is that you've got no body to automatically appear back in once you're there. When you realize you're there and you're like, oh, I'm here, you're not going to suddenly wake up in bed. You're there. You're stuck there for all intents and purposes. Do you know what I mean? Are
you saying when you die?
Yeah. Right. Comparing when you die to when you wake up from a fleeting lucid dream. Comparing the two, right? Do you understand?
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're focusing on. Funnily enough, I was thinking about this today, this particular issue, because you're associating the underworld with the dream state as if it's the unconscious state, as it were. Almost.
Well, I'm associating it in context that the dream state is preparation for the Bardo state after when you die. It's like a way. And I read this about what the Buddhists believe about the dream reality. They thought that it was. Oh, he's back. Steve?
Keep going, Jack. Carry on, Dave.
So yeah, I read that they believed in Buddhism the dream state was training to be able to deal with the Bardo state. So I'm comparing them in context of that theory.
I see what you're saying. I can see why they'd say that, because it's really your inner imagination. You're dreaming. It's purely your inner imagination. It's exactly like being in the underworld when you're inventing things around you. You know, I didn't go to any length to invent any scenery around me because I was more interested in the cloud. But had I stayed around there, for instance, I could have invented a whole world if I wanted to, because it just appears, whatever you think, you know. So there is the idea of that we have 3 dimensions in space.
Yeah.
The route to the underworld is in a completely different direction to anything you would call 3-dimensionally spatially. I can't remember where I read it, but somebody was talking about this other direction that we can take.
So when you say the route, do you mean the route as in the foundation, or the route as in the path?
The the actual flight you take, the fact that you enter that state, it's you going in. It feels like you're flying up into outer space, but you're not actually going anywhere. You know, so it's the what was I going to say? I've lost my thread there. Yeah, I've lost my thread.
So the route you take, you fly. It seems like you fly into outer space, but you're not going anywhere.
That's right. Somebody called it. I think they called it the direction known as kata. I don't know whether that rings any bells. He referred to this other dimensional direction entering the underworld as the kata direction. It's a direction inward to an infinitely small point.
Right. So it's like an implosion. It's like
no, not an implosion. It's simply even though you feel like you're flying upwards, you're actually expanding, and you're riding an expansion, and the expansion comes from becoming singular in your head, like a tiny point. But the thing I'm saying is that once you get to that point, you move in a certain direction that seemingly is an upward direction to you that you would associate with three-dimensional space. Right. But it's a direction elsewhere.
Right.
Other dimensionally, it's a portal to another dimension, let's say.
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, relating that to Stan Tenen and the Maru Foundation, he was talking about how a point gives rise to a tetrad or a tetrahedron, but he also said that a hypersphere or a toroid field would be a fourth dimensional representation of a sphere, right? You with me?
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not. It's a three-dimensional sphere. A sphere is a two-dimensional surface. A sphere is not a three-dimensional volume. It's a two-dimensional surface.
But that is all encasing and wraps around with infinite tangents to it. Right.
Yeah. But a sphere is nothing more than a surface. So it's associated with two dimensions, not three. See,
that's bizarre.
Yeah, the torus is associated with three dimensions, which is why we find them in three-dimensional space. See, the thing about the torus is it's a process, so it occurs over time. So it includes that fourth dimension, as you might consider time to be a dimension.
Yeah, because there's variability in it.
Yeah. It's a totality of variability. It covers every single potential at once. The torus. Yeah.
But
inside and out.
Right, because going back onto my train of thought, Stan Tenen was saying that you could never observe a hypersphere because it would automatically collapse back into a point or something along those lines. I think I'm muddling my concepts.
That's okay. What you're saying there is you can't observe every single part of a physical process all at once in physical real time, because you're only ever looking at a slice at one point.
So it's like the uncertainty principle in quantum mechanics. It's like you can know the position of the electron, but you can't know its what's the variable?
Momentum.
Yeah. You can only know one or the other. It's not possible to know both pieces of information simultaneously.
Yeah, but that's about measuring, and the thing you're using to measure is of the same order of size as the thing you're trying to measure. So it disturbs it by your measuring it, and by disturbing it, you can only get one of those pieces of information.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to get any more. But that's a very loose metaphor you're using there. It's quite loose.
Yeah. Is Steve? What's going on with Steve?
Yeah, you're right there, Steve. He's muted himself at the moment. He's probably trying to still sort out the connection.
Okay. Because he probably doesn't want to try and reset his router because our connection will drop.
That's right.
So he's doing everything but what needs to be done in order to fix his internet.
Right. Right. So we should carry on. All right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Carry on. I actually put a quote from the book, this Tibetan Book of the Dead, on what I've now referred to, what I've now called the Ascension page on Facebook. It used to be called Illumination, but I had so many Freemasons coming and hounding me that I changed it to Ascension. And they're all gone now. They're all gone. I don't get any weirdos turning up anymore, which is nice. Okay, so I took a quote from the Book of the Dead and put it on Facebook yesterday because it's just blatantly telling you what happens when you find yourself in the underworld, you know, which is exactly what happens when you ascend. It calls the light the clear light, which makes a lot of sense because it's perfectly defined, and it's the only thing there that's actually there without your imagining it.
I wondered if this was the case when it talks about the clear light. Is that the demiurge that it's referring to? Ah, right. I see. See, that's interesting. Go on, Steve. He's
back. I'm back. So, am I cutting out? Am I jerking, herky jerky?
You sound good to me, Steve.
Awesome, guys. I got a question. Somebody was asking. I think they were talking about the Bardo. What is in it?
There's only the light. The Bardo is an infinite void, pitch black void. It's the underworld or the abyss. It's the same thing. Otherwise known as the mental plane. Okay.
Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Hello.
You right?
Yeah, I'm here. I just got a phone call. I'm just having a bad time now. Sorry.
Here we go. Here's a sentence from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. At this moment, they're talking about when you enter the Bardo, the first glimpsing of the Bardo, that's the underworld, of the clear light of reality, which is the ineffable mind of the Dharmakaya, is experienced by all sentient beings.
So that's the question I asked you. Remember, I emailed you. I was like, because I asked, it says, if you've lived a life full of Dharma, you spend more time there. But if you're depleted of Dharma, you're just there for a flash and then it passes you by. And they said the longest amount of time you can build up to be there is the time, I think they say, the time it takes to eat a meal. Like, say, 5 to 10 minutes or something like that. Remember me? I asked you that in an email.
That's exactly how long you spend in there when you ascend. It was, if I estimated it, it would be exactly about 10, 12 minutes.
Right.
So that's it. And then my eyesight came back. So you're only there for 10 minutes. It's about your concentration, your ability to concentrate, I feel. And as you mentioned earlier, when you fell asleep, you worried about losing that control over you lose a dream, you suddenly wake up. Where's your control over all that? Where's the continuity of your control over your experience, even when you go into delta brainwave states and go unconscious and dream? Where's your control?
Yeah.
Also, the way they talk about this, the clear light is the true reality. Of course, I've been thinking about Adam Kadmon an awful lot recently as well, and how the cosmic man, Adam Kadmon's head is the light creator,
right?
Yeah. And his heart is the cosmos and its cycle. But you could say it's his body. So the creator and the cosmos is Adam Kadmon, this cosmic being that always exists. But
this is why they go on, Steve.
That's what Danny Wilton would refer to as the ultimate Anu, right? Adam Kadmon.
Adam Kadmon. I don't know whether I'd refer. Oh, you could refer to it as the ultimate Anu because it is An in the Nu. Mm-hmm. The Adam Kadmon's head is An. It's the father light, as it were, the father of creation, so to speak.
Osiris, pretty much, right?
And he's in the Nu, which is the ocean of chaos, which is the abyss, which is the Bardo. It's the same thing. So I've been thinking about how that relates to every single person in the cosmos. Of course, everybody is the embodiment of Adam Kadmon. It's as if Adam Kadmon, as God's son, wants to play in his own creation and find out about himself. Really, he's trying to recreate the greatest thing that he can, but the only thing he can do is create physical stuff, which is transient. So it's never perfect. Never perfect.
Yeah.
But it's a system that we can use to come in and have what we call ascension. Without it, we can't.
So essentially what you're saying is that the deck is stacked against us on purpose. Like we're to define our ineffable true self through the transient finite state in
When
the face of the adverse, right?
you're born into total ignorance. When you're born
Yes.
into a body, you're completely ignorant. You know, you start from scratch, basically. Yes, you have a personal Akashic record. It can help you in your dreams, etc. But if you listen, but basically you're totally ignorant. So you're basically thrown into this tree of good and evil and just said, right, get on with it. You know, and I can understand why human beings become narcissistic over the issue of God. If you listen to Stephen Fry, when he dies, if he meets God, he's going to stab God in the heart. Because Stephen Fry hates God. he hates him with a vengeance. He can't imagine why anybody is suffering on the planet.
Was there ever a moment in your life where you hated God?
I hated being ignorant. I didn't hate God. I hated being ignorant. I knew it wasn't God's fault, so there was no need for me to blame anyone. I could only blame myself in a way. You know, in a way, I can only blame myself because information is available. It's just your effort to go and get it and find it and process it and use it and make it useful for you. You know, that's down to you. That's down to you.
Yeah, it's interesting because I started listening to Eckhart Tolle, right? And I was quite like, I judged him like, you know, never judge a book by its cover, right? I had a preconceived judgment of him, right? I was like, oh, this guy talking about enlightenment, he's got his Oprah book club sticker, here we go, what's this? I was actually very impressed with a lot of the things he was saying.
Yeah.
He's good. He doesn't give much away, but he was saying that he was talking about happiness, and he was saying it's the universe isn't here to make you happy. It's not about a happy life. It's about learning. And he was stressing that, and he said that 90% of everyone's suffering is from their own internal perceptions of what they think life should be, when the reality is very different. So again, it goes back to ignorance being the prime cause of the suffering, but from an internal, you know. And he started saying this, and I kind of, my ears, like a dog, the ears perked up. I was like, oh wow. So yeah,
Did you guys know it was Ascension Thursday?
What's that, Steve?
Did you guys know it was Ascension Thursday?
No.
I didn't know that. No.
That's what Life with Laura is saying in chat. But guess who was in the chat? Miss Yvonne Gordon was in the chat.
Who's that? Oh, Yvonne Gordon. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Ah.
I've spoken with her recently. She's an awesome interpreter of the word.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone's interested as well, there's an astrological event, right, that pertains to making a magic wand on Saturday. You're supposed to make a magic wand when the sun is in Gemini on the first Saturday of a waxing moon. And that's Saturday, tomorrow. So if anyone's interested in making a magic wand, do it this Saturday.
Well, you know, I'm a Gemini and tomorrow's my birthday.
Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Yeah,
man.
So, yeah, I'm turning 23.
23.
Yeah.
You're going to be 23.
Yeah, if you believe that, you know, I got some swamp land in the desert.
You know, I hate to say this to you, Steve, but like Gemini to me is like just the worst fucking zodiac sign. I'm not saying Geminis are like someone with a sun sign whose Gemini is terrible. I just find it the most inner conflicting.
That's what I go through daily.
Oh man.
Yes.
I mean, I got no planets in Gemini, no planets in the third house. I'm free from Gemini energy, you know. Well, I say that, but it all influences you in some weird way, you know.
Yeah, we've all got the whole zodiac in us anyway, you know.
Yeah.
It's just emphasis. It's just emphasis.
Speaking on what you were just speaking of, Phil, Menza had a question. He said, Phil had mentioned in the past that it matters where our state of mind is when we die. And how does it matter and why does it matter? and what are the different consequences or pluses and minuses for said states of mind as we're entering the Bardo or the Deus.
Well, if you let's say you're going to a rock concert, right, and you're at the entrance door, right, and somebody behind you punches you in the back of your head, right? How are you going to feel about that?
Okay.
Right. How are you going to feel in that moment? And now you're entering the gig
Right.
after someone has punched you. It's going to make you really angry. So you're going into a gig angry.
Yeah.
So that's like you. Yeah. So you're not going to be angry for the rest of that time in the gig. You're going to be thinking, why did that happen? I didn't do anything wrong. What's up with this? You know, you can't settle. Your mind isn't settled. Right. So in the Bardo, if your mind isn't settled, you're going to see all sorts of things that are coming out of your subconscious that you haven't processed and you can't handle because you don't know what it is. No one's prepared you for this. You don't realize that it's from your own imagination, let's say, and you're just going to run away from it. You're going to run into the nearest birth you can take.
Is that what the dream state is? Is a workup to the Bardo? I mean, is it? What is dreaming to you, Phil?
Well, it's you expressing what's inside your you've got the psyche and you've got your personal Akashic record, which is spiritual. So you've got both at the same time, mixing and merging together. In the dream, you have things from the day, you know, but sometimes you get things from the spirit in the dream. You might meet someone who's dead in your dream, but that's actually them. So I would say they're saying that the dreaming state is a preparation for the Bardo because you're seeing what's in your own mind, basically. And in the Bardo, you can see what's in your own mind, you know, but you're stuck there then, and you have to rebirth if you want to get out of it. But when you're dreaming, you simply wake up and you carry on with your life. It's a very different condition, but it's always looking at stuff in your own mind. It's the same principle. Basically.
So in your opinion, when people come to you that have passed in your dreams, is it them in per se, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, because don't forget we're all the same person going through the unique experience. Effectively, we're all the same spirit. There's no distinction between spirit as such. We develop our own portion of spirit individually, but it's the same thing. It's the same spirit, and we all end up in the same place, as it were, the same destination. There's only one destination when you manifest. You know,
yes,
to get out of the manifestation, basically,
right.
to have control over your experience, so that you don't have to get sucked into a life that you'd rather not.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah, and according to the book of the dead, you
just
can.
Yeah, Jack loves
mind you, don't
rabbit holes.
but don't give up on that, because if you do have a life you don't want, you can do anything you want with your life. You can make it really exciting if you want to.
Maybe that's why I moved to California, hey?
It's all up to you. Doesn't matter what you got, it's how you use it.
You know, interestingly enough, I read in astrology is that some people have a terrible time in their home country. They like get addicted to drugs, life's fucking shit. But they have like some kind of weird hard moon aspect, whereas if they move to the other side of the world, that energy won't be on them anymore. It will be much dampened and softer, and they'll be able to get on managing their mundane lives successfully in that way. And I think that's definitely true. Like, I know a lot of immigrants have just been displaced by civil war, but I do believe it is some people's path. Like, it's the grand design for them to go and live somewhere else to get on with life, basically. Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand.
It's a funny thing, this, you know, this sort of the idea of destiny, because you do have free will all the time. I've found that it seems as though when you have something that's destined, you cannot avoid it. And if you do try and avoid it, your life will become more and more disastrous.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Until you face your destiny, then everything will work okay. So there's this sort of natural mechanism in play with manifestation that just automatically pushes you in the right direction anyway. Nothing is here. Nothing is here to put you off. Nothing's here to put you off. Nothing's trying to stop you from ascending. Nothing can stop
Nothing but
you.
your own free will choice, or your own ego, or your own demons.
Yeah, right? but look at the more ignorant you are, the more suggestive you are. So if I come across to you as knowing exactly what I'm talking about, and I talk you into ruining your next incarnation,
Right.
Yeah, that's down to you, because you need to get savvy about these things yourself if you want to deal with them yourself and not just rely
Okay,
on
here's a good guru question. Now, we hear this old cliche set up as we come back over and over and over until we learn these certain lessons. And, you know, is there a set amount of times you're going to reincarnate, or is it just matter on the individual and their perception or willingness to perceive the reality as a whole? Or do you think it takes thousands of lifetimes to get to what we're talking about here?
It's all down to you. That's the bottom line. You can take 1,000 lifetimes if you want. Recognize that every time you have a lifetime, when you enter a new body, you're completely blank again. You've forgotten everything. Recognize that. See, so when you rise above that, you no longer have to be blank ever again.
Yeah.
See, so you go on to far greater things. That it never ends. That God is never ending. Don't forget that either.
The mountain gets higher as the truth gets longer, right?
Yeah. So you come out of the automatic and you become more in control of your experience, and you can develop things and grow things yourself. Look at a person. Look at a person who makes video games.
Yeah.
As a very simple metaphor and comparison. When you make a video game, you have an infinite void, but you have this grid that is limited and finite to tell you where to make your game in that infinite void. This reminds me of rising above the automatic manifestation and creating your own stuff, your own thing. You basically turn into God. And what does God do? God creates.
Yeah, I'm sure, right, on this point, Phil, there's a conflation in spiritual communities and academic and academia. Like, Enlightenment or Ascension is conflated with all-knowingness. There's this idea that once you're enlightened, you're all-knowing, but then there's this logical fallacy to that, because, well, how could you be all-knowing when there's an infinite amount of possible information? So there's this confusion that I see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only confusion in there will come from your appreciation of that phrase. The phrase all-knowing is not referring to all possible information. It's simply referring to the root of reality.
Yeah.
That's all. It doesn't mean you're, as I said before, you're not suddenly a geological expert. I don't know what ant colonies are doing in the Amazon rainforest at the moment. I haven't got a clue. I'm not there. Why would I bother with that information anyway? It's completely useless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's referring to useful information, and specifically the nature of reality. Knowing the nature of reality, everything else is just details in a way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I see it. Yeah.
That was an excellent description of what he was just asking, because you know the conflation he's speaking of is very obvious and right in your face when you see it in as much as, you know, so by the grace of, was it the grace of God that I've got to know you, Phil, or got to make a connection with, or is it just, you know what I mean by that? Why am I so special to know you?
Your desire, we may have agreed to do this anyway before coming, I don't know, but it will be your desire that links in and focuses in that you knew Danielle, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember how I got in touch with Danielle. She may have seen me on YouTube or something and got in touch. And then
he's in the chat right now too.
Yeah, so this is how things grow. You make one connection and they know all sorts of people and you connect with them as well. It just grows all the time. It can only grow.
You know, I play devil's advocate with you, Steve, because I don't think it makes me special in any way. The fact that Phil's one of my guru, let's say, because there aren't any others. You're a sad guru, or maybe, but
right.
But the thing is, it's like I the only reason that I'm in touch with Phil is because I was interested in Gnosticism, and from what I was researching online about Archons, it was all this conspiracy bullshit about how these evil Archons are manipulating us and sucking our energy. And it just didn't seem to make sense. And I came across Phil's video about Yaldabaoth, and I watched it, and I was like, oh shit, this guy knows what he's talking about. And you know, but I don't think I don't think there's any.
But you see what the response you're having right there is like, you're not it's like we tend to add an ego tally or something in our mind's eye that you're trying to explain that you're not special for knowing Phil. You know what I mean? But I'm not. Don't stop. I'm not even saying that. I mean, my point is that we try not to. I don't know. Find the truth when the truth is staring us in the face because of what you were just explaining there.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean by that?
No, not really.
Like ourselves get in ourselves way when our ego kind of double checks itself, and you know what I mean by that. But I mean, Phil, yeah. What I meant when I was asking Phil that question is I was being kind of a double-edged sword in my own right, that I wanted him to explain. So is it the grace of God, you know, the destiny issue? Is it because I've served so many lifetimes that I got lucky enough to meet Phil? Or is it, you know what I mean?
I think it's just your intention brought you to me, basically. Your intention to find something. And then when you see it, you grab it, you know. I mean, think of all the other people who are gonna sort of cotton on in the next few years, and more. There are more and more, obviously. But it'll grow, and then they'll say, "Well, how come I didn't find you before?" Well, you know, it's just timing. It's just timing.
Yeah.
What else can you say?
Going back to your point, Steve.
Talking about Jack, I do not put.
Yeah, let me give you another example, right? Yeah. Because these channels where these people talk about like Archons and Bondage.
Oh yeah.
It's very egotistical in a sense that who are these mysterious beings controlling my life? I'm in control of my life. How dare they? Right. I'm going to get to the truth of this. It's even like people researching the elite in Hollywood or stuff like that. You know, I got sucked back into this trap when David Icke did his interview, but I very quickly pulled back out of it. People are like, oh, I'm trying to find the truth. But they're actually trying to find the truth of the zeitgeist, which is transient, so it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? You know, and this is why I think this is part of the genius of Aleister Crowley, that he wrote one of his books. He called it The Book of Lies, because they are lies in a sense that they're not substantial or eternally enduring. And this is with reference to the zeitgeist, you know. You know, so who cares what's fucking going on in Hollywood? You know, who cares about the coronavirus conspiracies? None of that actually matters with respect to our own quest for not that kind of truth, but singular, not undefined truth. We give that we define that singular truth, if you see what I mean.
Understanding,
understanding wisdom, you know,
to know for yourself. So you're not kicked around by reality anymore, you know.
Do you see? There's this fucking like it's really annoying, you know. I'm annoyed by it, but it's more that I'm a bit upset that
they wasted
people
time.
It's just a big waste of fucking time. Like I was watching this other guy. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's called Master Sri Akarshana, right? And he's this new age guru. He's English, but he's of Asian lineage, right?
Has he got long hair?
No, he's got short hair, right? He's got nearly 1 million subscribers. Like I'm on his channel now. It's like why the law of attraction doesn't work for you, how to make money. Look, he's a fucking new age psychopathic scammer, right? And I know this because he's got this video here called Guided Meditation to activate your pineal gland and open your third eye, and then in brackets in big capital letters with exclamation marks, instant results. And
yeah, how do you feel about stuff like that, Phil?
I've watched them. I've watched videos like that. It's just people bullshitting themselves and others. Literally, it really is.
But there's this malevolent narcissistic component at work here, because this guy's like, I'm fooling you and I'm omnipotent and you're not calling me out on your fraud. So really I am so great and all powerful. And do you know what I mean? Because if I was a fraud and you're not calling me out on my fraudulence, therefore you're a fucking idiot, and then you deserve to be scammed, and I'll take all your money. You know, I found a video the other day by an Israeli doctor called Dr. Sam Vaknin. He's got a channel with 100,000 subscribers. I don't know if anyone in the chat's heard of him. And he released a video called New Age Mystics, Gurus, and Madmen. And it was all a video talking about how the New Age and religion is full of psychopaths taking money off people, and people are so like we've all been taught like we can all succeed, we can all do anything we put our mind to, we can all be driving the Lamborghini, like if we just only put our mind to it and use the law of attraction. And reality is not true. Like what percentage of the population own Lamborghinis? 1% maybe. And failure in that monetary sense is the norm. So like the narcissism in society is trickled down now to this spiritual level where I find it heartbreaking. I really do. Sorry to have a rant about this, but I kind of want to get it off my chest because it pisses me off. Like, and I left a comment on one of these videos saying, like, there's no way to open your pineal gland from this meditation. And just all these people in the comment section trolling me, going, oh, yeah, just because it didn't work for you, you fucking moron. And I'm just like, oh, no, like, this is all backwards. Like, I'm like, Greta, this is all wrong. How dare you? Yeah. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about them because they're not going to get anywhere. You know, if they want to go around pretending to people they've opened their third eye, what does it amount to? Are they trying to get people to go, oh, I'm so impressed by you? Okay, well, where does that go? What is he wants to have a relationship with everybody? You know, he wants to impress everybody. He wants to impress girls or whatever. You know, it's just a complete mess.
This guy's charging £10,000 for a spiritual boot camp.
The Egyptians
selling. There you go. That's a scam artist.
Yeah, it's a scam artist, but he's fucking making loads of money doing it. And he's not short of any marks, you know. And look, this is why I'm so fired up about this. Sorry, Steve. I'll just finish this last point and then we'll whatever. My sister has drunk the Teal Swan Kool-Aid. Right, she's 7 years younger than me. Dude, it's not fucking funny, Steve. Like
she is pretty.
She's a cunt. I hate her.
Well, come on now.
No. She's a psychopath. She's a complete psychopath. Don't use that word here. Sorry, I'm English. We throw that round. Apologies in the chat, but it's not as much of an insult.
Good thing I had that not for kids thing checked off.
Oh God! But my sister's psyche is completely messed up and out of balance because she's an exponent of Teal Swan. And I tried to warn her about it, and she uses all the things Teal Swan has taught her to not let someone deprogram her.
But
do you know what I mean? Like,
does she have any scientific grounding at all?
Yeah, but if I say that, no, there's no scientific grounding.
Then anyone who is rational and reasonable can recognize that you need to listen to at least 3 or 4 different people who are claiming to have something to say, so you can compare what they're saying. And the 3 of them might come out to be true, and one of them will be an obvious fraud. This kind of thing. It allows you to see reality and truth because you'll hear the same truth repeated over and over again with the right people.
Right. Yeah. No, I get. I get that. I get
so
that.
It's a process to sift through the information that is bombarding you in the world.
this is all, you know, this is what I left my sister a voice message explaining to her exactly what you just said is what she needs to do. Because I've only spoke to her twice in the past year, and every time I do, it's bad. It's real bad. And it not only do these fake spiritual teachers distort reality for those who are trying to learn, they actually put them into some kind of psychosis. But if I take a step back, I guess this is the blackening. This is what the blackening is.
That's
you want to learn truth. You got to go through all this fucking bullshit and these trials and tribulations. So maybe I should just take a step back and accept it for what it is, you know. And demons congregate around truth in droves, you know. I went from
being a what you just described to a T, what you just described about being pissed off about all of this false information, disinformation, misinformation being spread all around, the David Icke stuff, you know, the hole after hole after hole and doorway for everyone that has the conspiratorial mindset to go down those holes. And you know, I went from that to just being an appreciative for what I understand and what I can learn tomorrow. And I don't know is that a normal process that one goes through, Phil? Did you go through a process like that?
Exactly like what you, sorry, Steve, what do you mean?
You know how you go from like the conspiratorial, did you ever go through a phase where you were running down rabbit holes, you were trying to find the truth, and did you just always just, you know, were you water like Bruce Lee says all the time?
Well, to be honest, I started out with Bruce Lee, and I learned some of the best mental, what do you call it? Some of the best ways of seeing things to go into the great work. So you don't get emotionally involved in any information you start looking at. For example, when you say going down rabbit holes, that can really irritate you, that you spent all that time looking at something that's gone nowhere.
Yeah, it's useless.
Right, but I realized very early on that the world is full of useless information, and that will happen. So when it does happen, don't worry about it. Know that all that stuff that you've now established for yourself is crap. You know that that's crap, so you won't get fooled by that again. In the meantime, you've got 2 or 3 different streams of information going already anyway. So that it just doesn't matter anymore. You've got these things going, then one of them might stop me and think, well, that doesn't go anywhere. I'll carry on with these 2. Oh, look, there's a new one. See, so it's about following different streams of information. And whenever you see a correspondence between them, like in psychology and physics, maybe you might find some correspondence in the physiology of your body. You'll see that these subjects do relate to each other. And then you'll get the impression that reality is just one big jigsaw puzzle that's already completed. And all you're doing is finding out about it.
Yeah.
You know? So don't worry about going down a rabbit hole. That's always going to happen. Even if people pull you into their world and start fooling you, and you get fooled, and then you realize that you've wasted your time. Don't worry about it. Keep other streams going as well at the same time. Never focus on one thing at a time for a long time. Like being a fan of Teal Swan only.
Oh, fuck her.
You know, if you're only going to watch Teal Swan and think that nobody else in the world has anything useful to say to you, that is you doing that to yourself, and you're digging yourself into a hole.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the only reason I don't like her is because she's got hold of my sister's psyche, so it feels kind of personal to me. But then again, it's all about how I take it, I guess, as well.
Yvonne Gordon chimed in. I just had to share this. I'm sorry if I cut you off there, Jack. My bad. She says, once you find anything in you that frees you, you cling to that till you find more and more inner freedom.
There's one way of saying it. Yeah, that finding God is finding ineffability or the ineffable, which is nothing to cling on to. So all of a sudden you're free.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, it's another way of thinking about this, right? What you said, Steve, is like when you start the path of the great work, your mind's almost on a divergence series because you're just going in all these directions, looking at different things. And there'll be some point along the way where that process gets reversed and it becomes, or not reversed, it will switch to a convergence. Do you see what I mean? Because
what you mean, where you're pulled away from the main path?
Well, yeah, because like, so you're looking for truth when you first start. You know, you first go, hey, why is all this stuff in the world happening? Blah 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 blah. What's all this suffering going on? Why? What's it all about, etc. So this is like a divergent mental direction, if you see what I mean, because you're looking in all these different places and you keep going down all these rabbit holes, as Steve said. But there's some point along the way where that divergence is turned into convergence, and you start moving towards this, like, inexorably towards this singular truth.
Integration.
And, yeah, there's this
integration, bringing together.
Right. There's this integration, and I guess that's when the comparative religion starts, and the comparisons of spiritual sources and authoritative sources get compared, you know, and then lo and behold, yeah. Did you see what I mean by that, Steve? Did you experience that?
Definitely. It's like it's like it fell on me. This whole, I cannot believe right now, as you were speaking that, as you were saying what you were just saying, I relived my whole moment of waking up from the car, stars and bars mentality to something different, and it was the sky for me. You know, it was Nibiru, and it was just so weird to me that Nibiru was actually the same thing. You know, it's like the Exodus from Egypt, because, you know, like Egypt is our ego, right? I mean, right, Phil? I mean, that's just a part of our journey. I mean, I just don't, right now I'm at a loss for words, because I feel like it just fell on me. I didn't,
I know what you mean.
I didn't work for it like Phil did for 20 years, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you know? I know what you say when you say it just fell on you, because I can pinpoint the moment where I was watching Phil's video on Yaldabaoth for the first time, and he was like, the truth is God, and I experienced Ascension, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, wait a minute. But it was, Phil could back up. Phil, you back up everything. And then when I look in the scriptures, it's all there and it's all verified. None of these other New Age teachers, that's how you can separate the wheat from the chaff. But I wanted to, like, clarify to you, Steve, that the fell on me point that you talk about, I totally relate to that, dude, like 100%. Like, I know exactly what you mean by that. You know?
Yeah, and that's what I mean about, that's why I'm asking Phil, is like, why did you have to work so damn hard for it, and it just fell on me? You know, what's the deal with that sort of thing?
Are you talking about how I did the great work?
Yeah, I mean, you worked your ass off to get to where you're at right now. You know what I mean? I mean, more so than, you know, than I
well, don't forget, it was before the internet. So, and there I am looking for great information and not really finding it, and being stuck without the internet. I was stuck without access to it. So I had to go to university. I had to do all these things, you know. It's just a condition that I had, and it's really it was really a decision where I thought, I either do this or I don't. If I do it, it's 100%. There's no point in even 98% isn't going to be enough. If I die and I don't make it, I've wasted all that time. Okay, it's not completely wasted. Fine, I can carry it over to my next life, but I'd rather not. Let's just go for it and make sure I do it, because everything is in my life at the time was trying to bury me. I got the impression that the rest of my life around me was trying to put me in the ground and kill me. And I thought, you know, I had the reaction where I said, no, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to stand above all this shit. And I'm going to do the best that I can to be the best that I can and do what everybody else can't seem to do. So let's just do that and say, fuck it, excuse my French, but fuck this, I'm going to do it, you know, and sacrifice whatever I wanted to do in my life instead, and just get rid of that, because it's from a stupid person. I recognize that I was stupid. So whatever projection I had for my life was just stupid. You know, I want a car, I want a house, I want a wife, blah, 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 all this stuff. I thought, well, what's greater than that? What will last? Because when you get these things and then you die, you think, well, what was the point of all that? It's all gone. So I thought, well, what lasts? And I'm hearing from religion that there's this thing that lasts. And I think, well, what is that? It's the truth. Okay, well, where is it? Give it to me. Let me find it. All right. Well, what do I have to beg? Do I have to beg? Do you know what I mean? let me find it. I'll do anything I can to find that if it's so great. So I did. Simple as that. You know, and I had the best teacher to start with, Bruce Lee. Who better to show you the nature of focused concentration? Look at his face when he's fighting. Yeah, I know it's fighting is violence, but look beyond that and look at the nature of his mind. That's what I was interested in. I thought I can use that for the great work. So I did, and I became ferocious, just like Bruce Lee would beat the crap out of something that was in his way, as it were. I would beat the crap out of things mentally with my mind, almost like I'm Sherlock Holmes. So Bruce Lee gave me the attitude to fight for it, but the idea that, I know it's a fictional character, but Sherlock Holmes embodies the path of knowledge. Can you see that? He is basically a god, Sherlock Holmes, but they don't talk about that. Arthur Conan Doyle didn't say, this man has ascended, this is why he's so clever. No, so he explains logically that Sherlock Holmes simply spent his life learning everything he could as a student of life. You know, and he's just clever just because of that. Well, to me, Sherlock Holmes is the personification of a god who would live in London and England in the 1900s. That's how I see Sherlock Holmes, even though it's a fictional character. So I thought, I need to be like that. Even though he's not real, I need to be like that. I need to be as clever as that. I want to be as clever as that. I don't want to be fooled. I don't want to be in the dark about things. I don't want to be a stupid idiot. I don't like it. Ignorance does nothing but cause problems, I noticed. So let me not be ignorant. I don't want to cause problems. I want to make things better because this place is a shithole. Excuse my French. I looked around me and thought, everybody's miserable. Why is everybody miserable? Why is that? You're supposed to be happy, aren't you? Your natural state is happy. So if you remove all this crap, you're happy. It's that simple. If you want happiness, you just drop everything and there you are, you're happy. That's it. It really is that simple. You know, go back to simplicity and you'll find your happiness, if that's what you want. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, but in terms...
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, in relating to like what Steve said earlier, surely all your explorations on Nibiru was the groundwork you did, because I kind of hear from you, you've got a feeling that it's undeserved, Steve. But
no, I'm not saying it's undeserved. I'm just saying what sets me apart from anybody else. Like, you know, why did it like fall on me? And, you know, like a couple of people in chat said too, the same thing. It just, I mean, one day I was looking up in the sky and the only questions I ever had in the cars, stars and bars mindset was, you know, the day Santa Claus wasn't real to me. Reality hit me in the face. I knew it was a shit show. I knew I had to struggle my whole life for money and get nowhere because I knew at the end of the day, I would not bring it with me. And, you know, I guess that was the struggle that started me on it. But I mean, those were the only questions I ever had. And, you know, I'm just thankful to know you guys. And I'm appreciative, which brings me to I go from I'm conflicted and upset about false information to just being appreciative of knowing you guys.
Yeah. But the point I'm trying to make to you here, Steve, is that it probably didn't just fall on your lap. You're not giving yourself the credit for all that work you did before that moment came. Because I know from my own personal experience, it was 10 years of hell up until the real understanding came. Do you know what I mean? I'm just wondering if you're not giving yourself the credit you deserve. That's all I'm saying, dude. You know.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that.
Yeah, maybe
not.
You know, because you know here we all are essentially.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So,
I'm just, like I said, I'm just thankful to know all you guys and everybody that's in the chat, because it seems like, you know, whatever whatever camaraderie or a link you have to anybody that's standing shoulder to shoulder with you and putting up with you is all right by me, and I appreciate every one of you. And so that being said, now we come to the shit show ignorant, fool. The hero's journey is the process, right, Phil? I mean,
yeah. The hero's journey is the process out of that ignorance. Yeah.
And then
which means you have to experience all sorts of things as if you are a fool. You're going to be taken for a fool by other people. It is so interesting. If you put yourself in a position with people that don't know you, if you dress a certain way, they'll take you a certain way. I find that so interesting about human psychology, just the automatic assumptions people make about you by the way you look. If I say something, what if I don't mean it? What if they then take it that I did mean that when I didn't? They're going to argue, no, you said that, so you meant it. No, I didn't mean it. I just said it. There's a terrible problem with human interaction in the first place.
Yeah, they're having this issue in comedy right now with political correctness. It's become a big mess. Like, British comedians are scared to even go on stage now because of what you just said.
Yeah, apart from Ricky Gervais.
I don't know who that is, but
I like Ricky Gervais. He doesn't care. He just says what he thinks. Then he gets away with it for some reason.
He's a politician over there.
No, Ricky Gervais is a comedian.
Oh,
he created The Office, which was then done with
Steve Carell. Steve Carell.
Yeah, did it after that. But yeah.
So
go
sorry.
on. But sorry to take you off what you were saying, Phil.
That's right. I've forgotten where we were actually. What were you talking about? Really?
This is how we end up from talking about a pond and dealing with an ocean all the time. But
an interesting point I've got actually. On one of my videos, I got a comment from someone. I don't know who it was. And they said, it seems to me you're just going in circles. And then she said, when I watch Steve, I understand zilch. But I was trying to explain to her that, like, that is kind of the point, because when you read the scriptures, it is just a circle going round and round, describing the very same thing from different, just creating all these different metaphors to describe the same thing. It is like, it's almost like a wild goose chase, even at the deepest level of the exegesis, because they just keep going on about this thing over and over and over. It's just like this record player playing on a constant loop,
The biblical books are the most useful books I've encountered since Illumination, because in my opinion, they're for people who are illuminated. That they're not for normal people, because if you have a misinterpretation on the contents of the Bible, you're in serious trouble, because you are literally wasting your time. That's a serious problem. That's one of the reasons I'm online. I want to address that. Obviously, I'm not known, so I'm not getting very far. But the Bible is the most useful book I've found since Illumination, because it's filling in all these things that I wanted to pull out of the new state, as it were. It's in there, but reading the Bible helped me link to them, and actually helped me bring them into my conscious mind. So the biblical books are very, very powerful if you're illuminated, but they're a complete
this answers a huge question.
Colorful mess if you're not.
This answers a huge question, Phil, that somebody just asked me. Supernova Sam Paula asked this recently. She said, we don't need a guru to make the final leap. And I said, well, I'm not looking for a guru. I'm looking for a mentor, somebody to help me along the path. Explain a little on that, would you, Phil?
Yeah, nobody can do it for you. Any other person, whether a guru or just another person, can only tell you what they know. That's it. That's all they can do. And you can take it or leave it. You can take it and use it or not. Bruce Lee's thing was to take what's useful make it your own, and discard what's not. That's it. That was his entire philosophy. So whatever's useful to you, you hold on to and you develop for yourself and you turn it into your own thing.
Yeah.
Same with information. If information is useful, you can use it for your own benefit. If information tells you about the nature of reality, you can use that to understand reality.
Beautiful.
Yeah, one of those people is Walter Russell, because he emphasizes the nature of duality between the infinite and the finite, which turns out to be just a classical subject matter. You'll find it throughout sacred geometry, the union of the infinite and the finite. It's the same principle throughout. It's just Christianity that's taken that out of context. All the other religions are their original state. The Abrahamic, I have a problem with all three Abrahamic religions and their interpretation. Even Jews
why do you think that is,
don't
Phil?
understand. Even Jews don't understand their own Torah, for goodness sakes. That's a problem as well.
Why do you think that is, though?
Because they don't recognize, a lot of them don't bother with Kabbalah. They think it's simply mysticism, and it's almost like, oh, you study Kabbalah? Oh, you think that's really cool, but we're not going to bother because we're into the Torah. Yeah, but hang on, the Torah is Kabbalah. You know, you complete prat. Why are you so dull? Why are you so dull in your mind?
Remember,
Why
Phil,
can you not recognize that Kabbalah is the basis of the Bible? Oh my God. It's so obvious.
This goes back to my point earlier, like when I'm looking at these new age scammers just creaming in the cash off these people. Most people aren't mystics that think as deeply as they possibly can.
No.
I think that's one thing that separates like me and Steve from, and you as well, from like people that get stuck in that, you know. And I think it's like, talking about astrology again, it's some kind of like Scorpio 8th house energy.
There's something to be said about if it's not being sold, nobody's buying it.
Right. Yeah. No, that's it. And as well, guru means the name of, I think in not Hindi, is it Hindi or Sanskrit? I don't know. Punjab. Guru is the name of the planet Jupiter, which means teacher as well, because in Vedic astrology, Jupiter is the teacher that teaches you about liberation to moksha, you know? So, yeah. You know, I wouldn't mind having, if it's okay with you, Phil, at some point, I wouldn't mind reading your Vedic chart, because there's, they say, you know, they have the Navamsa chart, which is the D9, they have all these derivative charts and they're derived in certain mathematical ways, but it's the first derivative of your main horoscope. And they say if the south node of the moon is 12 houses from your ruling planet, your Atmakaka, which is the planet with the highest degree in any sign in your horoscope, if Ketu, the south node, is 12 houses from your Atmakaka, then you have what's called Akara Kamsa Lagna. And that means that like everything is pushing your soul towards moksha in this lifetime. So it seems like Steve, myself, and you like have a proclivity towards that. And I looked at Paramahansa Yogananda's astrology chart, and sure enough, that was there. So I kind of wanted to do some like Vedic astrology research to be like, okay, can I compare? Is this true? But
that when you do that, I immediately see that you're looking for an automatic result. So if it shows up in my chart, you'll say, "Oh, look, it's in Phil's chart," and then you do your own, and it doesn't show up. So you say, "Oh no, I'm not going to be illuminated in this lifetime." See,
no, it's in my chart. It's in my chart.
Thank
That's
God for
how I
that.
found out about it.
But anyway, that kind of thing can make you think in an automatic way and just cancel your free will. Never cancel your free will. Never. If anyone says this is your life's destiny, blah blah blah, yeah, forget that. You have this thing called free will. Always, always, always. Never forget your free will, no matter what you hear.
You know, I'm not complaining though, Phil.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but I'm not complaining because the destination is moksha. If it wasn't, I'd be fucking having a good old whine about it and a good old
right. But anyone can find moksha in this lifetime. Anyone.
That's interesting.
You don't have to take all that Vedic stuff too seriously. For instance, somebody asked me the other day, once again, about the chrism oil and the timing of the natural process of the chrism oil, and that you are suggesting that you can only illuminate when the chrism oil is rising in your brain. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that only occurs when God enters your body.
Right.
That only occurs when, because it can only occur when because your heart chakra switches on when God enters your body, and that's what rises up and goes into your brain. And whatever process there is in your spine, I'm not the expert on that. I can't tell you about that, but it didn't relate to it, and it didn't relate to the lunar cycle either. When I had illumination, it had nothing to do with the lunar cycle. It was very personal.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me, because that whole, I never resonated with that whole, and they go, oh yeah, it's Santa Claus coming down the chimney and then rising back up it. And it's like, what? There's no congruence to it. There's no.
What do you mean? That's a Western story with the Santa Claus relating to Ascension, which is commemorated by Christmas.
Right. No, exactly. No, right. So here's a question for you, Phil. Here on everything we just discussed. Okay. What is the point of reconciliation between what would be termed determinism and then what is termed free will? There must be a point of reconciliation between those two contrary ideas.
You could argue the word destiny represents the reconciliation of those two things, because destiny is something you accept for yourself because it's the best thing for you. Do you see what I mean? It's not just something that you're going to go through and think, oh, I can't be bothered with that. No, it's your destiny. Therefore, it's very meaningful. It's imposed on you in the one sense. I even have this issue with my twin flame. Our union is imposed on us regardless of our free will, but we still have the free will to walk away from each other physically if we so choose.
Have you spoken with her yet?
No, it's very difficult to tell someone who hasn't met their twin flame, but she's actually here all the time.
Yeah.
She's here all the time. She's never gone away. I'm never going to go away from her as well. And the advice I've heard recently is that I'm never going to be alone again.
You heard that from your twin flame or your
soul? It's something I got from a diviner, but there's a distinction between simply looking at divination, because there's thousands of people doing it. A random divination, does it really mean anything to you? So I get, see, when I see something, it's either bright or it's dark. There's an inner
feeling.
No, it's not a feeling. It's an impression that I get from it that I think is empathic. It's an empathic issue. So,
what do you mean about just anything that comes across your
path? So if somebody gave me 3 ideas and they said pick one, the one that appears in my mind with lots of bright light with it, that's the one I go for. See, so when I get a divination, 99% of them I'll completely ignore, but one of them will just be bright. It'll hit me as a bright thing. So when I watch it, I confirm that it has that brightness of information that's useful to me.
You call that intuition as well.
You could call it intuition, yeah, but the illuminated state is much more powerful than just general intuition, because a lot of people mix imagination with intuition, and they think their imagination is their intuition, and it's not.
Here's another question, actually, Phil, you could answer on quantum physics, maybe. Because I've been using the I Ching for divination, and it's been so uncanny and spooky how it's always come to pass. So is it like the double slit experiment, like, whereas in my divination is like looking at the particles from the wave function being the wave function, the act of observing collapses the wave function right into particles. Do you understand what I mean? I'm not explaining.
I know what you mean. What you're saying is that when When the result is known, the wave function collapses because it's specified and it's not generalized anymore.
Yeah, so my question is does the divination that you do, whatever method, tarot, geomancy, I Ching, whatever, there's countless ways to do it. Does the divination somehow give rise for that reality to occur, that future to occur in context of quantum physics? That's my question.
I understand what you mean too. I totally can wrap my head around what you just asked, and I'd
You're
like to hear
about,
that answer too.
You're talking about a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
The key to prophecy.
Bringing
about something, but yeah, I mean, you can self-sabotage. There's another issue there with called self-sabotage, where you sabotage yourself from being successful in a situation because you talk yourself out of it. You know, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I won't bother. That's a classic. You know.
Yeah, the way I deal with that now, I use the Peter Carroll method. You know, I had this job interview yesterday, right? I told Steve, and I got the job, right? And it's a management job. I'm going to be managing all these engineers that are much more experienced than me, right? And they've worked there for years, and I don't know fucking nothing. But in the interview, I wasn't sure if I even wanted the job. So I had this non-attachment to it, but I had that coupled with non-disinterest. So I was very relaxed and I was just myself in this interview. And, you know, this guy gave me this fucking job. Like, so now I got to manage this team of people now. Like, it's weird. Like, but the act of not really caring about it, but still retaining a level of interest made it manifest. You know,
I know what you're saying. This is a problem for most people because there's no hard and fast rule. You're dealing with lots of different things at once. You're dealing with the other person you're talking to. What kind of person are you talking to? Are they the kind of person who has initiative? Initiative separates, like, well, as they say, the men from the boys. The boys do not have initiative. Men have initiative. They know how to get things done. They go out and do it. Boys stand there, holding their whatever, thinking, how do I get that done? You know, you need initiative, which is free will and choice and your will to produce a result. You can talk about how aggressive you can be about that, or how passively you can do that, how manipulative you can be with the way you speak, etc., etc.
This is my point, though, is that there's no lust for results on my part. There's no, like, desire to, like, attain as much as I can. Like, oh, I really want to get this. I'm really going to work hard and climb the greasy pole to get this. I literally don't care about it. But I've tried to take responsibility as much as I can with my life. And, you know, on the application, it said, write about yourself in 2 sentences, non-professional related. And all I wrote is my core values are honesty, diligence, and responsibility. That's all I wrote. And off the back of just writing that, this guy obviously deemed to give me this job. You know, I'm going to be earning loads more money now and all this stuff. And it's
those are good.
Weird.
Those are good qualities. Those are good qualities to project about yourself.
Yeah, but that's true. Those are my 3 biggest. But it's just weird because I quit my job on Tuesday because my manager was a narc. And then a day later, I end up getting a better job. This is the point I'm trying to make. There was no burning desire for any of this. I literally am totally indifferent to it. I'm ambivalent as well about it emotionally. And
you just wanted to be freed up to talk with me and Phil.
Well, yeah, there was that as well. That's an added bonus. But the point I'm trying to make is that it seems the key to the manifestation was 1, not trying to manifest it in the first place, and 2, not caring about it, not lusting about it. But I still have that level of interest because I understand that I need to work to just support my mundane life. That keeps me interested.
Yeah, but you're making an assumption there already. You're making an assumption that something has manifested as a result of some mental process or not, or whatever, when that's not necessarily the case at all.
I don't know. It's bizarre.
I just don't like this idea of manifesting, because it gets people to think that they can have what they want, which is a way of drawing them away from finding their true self. Because if there's a horrible thing in the world today that suggests that you should be rich, super happy, you should have everything you want in life, and God will provide it. If you're spiritual and if you know how to manifest things, and God appreciates you, he wants you to have the best life you can, which means the trophy wife, the trophy mansion, a Lamborghini, whatever. This is all nonsense.
Yeah.
It's all complete nonsense. Why would you want such things? You can have those things if you want. It's not a problem. So it's like the saying in the Upanishads. You can enjoy your life if you want, but don't forget the purpose of your life in the process.
Yeah, no, I understand. But I think, Phil, because I've been trying to take responsibility for my own life, my reward from whatever the universe or the transcendent universe, my reward for being responsible is more responsibility, more work. That seems to be what have happened. Through no desire of my own, through no real effort of my own. It's just happened. And I find it bizarre. Like,
I don't. If you're relaxed and you're your casual self, your life will fall into place.
That's exactly what went down. That's exactly what went down.
It's when you start getting in your own way that those things don't work. So just relax and go with the flow to a large extent. Let things happen, and these things will take place by themselves. People will recognize you for what you are here and there. Not everyone's an idiot. You know? Yeah, there's a lot to be said for just sit back, relax, and take it easy, and your life will happen as it should.
Yeah,
just be.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Like I just. But that was it. Like, I was just totally relaxed, didn't care about it. And the universe puts me up the social hierarchy, so to speak, which, again, I don't fucking care about it. I really don't. Right, I'm going to earn another...
Don't forget, it was that guy's decision. Because it's very easy to talk in terms of, the universe wanted this for me or that for me.
Well,
but
maybe he wanted this.
We have no idea if the universe wants anything for you, because as far as I'm concerned, the universe is completely indifferent and just a material. There's no inherent intelligence in it as such. The intelligence is in the formation of the creative principle, which runs an automatic system. So the intelligence is with God, I feel, not the automatic system. So I never think the universe is doing anything for me. The universe is there for my benefit, but it's not actively trying to show it. I think it's spirit groups, different aspects of spirit that are influencing and influencing other people to come to you and recognize this in you at that time, all this sort of thing. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yeah, maybe then to change the semantics, it wasn't the universe, it was some behind the scenes spirit kind of thing.
Not even that, not necessarily all the time. I'm just saying sometimes it might come to that if it's a difficult physical situation. But if it's just a straightforward situation, there's no need for all that intervention.
And this is the other point as well, is that when you look at history, I was watching David Starkey talking about COVID-19 and the disastrous response from the British government about it. So let's not get into that. The point is, though, he said people think history is like a gradual change over time. But he said when it comes to the big political history of nations, and he said events can happen in a day or a weekend that radically changed the path that a country was on, for example. Like, history's full of these instantaneous events that just completely changed the direction things were going. I didn't realize that. I thought that was interesting, And
it's not always gradual,
and I guess, because illumination is an event, although it's a gradual build-up, it's still, historically speaking, an event happens to the candidate whereby after that event everything's different from now on. That's right. I just thought that was interesting, and I'd add that point because Yeah.
You can you can apply that to the end of World War II. One day Hitler's alive, next day he's dead.
Yeah.
That's it, and he's gone. All of a sudden, he's gone.
Well, and then 50 years later, you find out he was alive on some island
in Argentina.
Whether or not that's true or not, I don't care. But you know what I mean? That's history.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and you know that's the convoluted nature of humanity is to take the ultra simple, which is what can get more simple than light and dark, turn it into every religion under the book and under every shroud, and turn it into this and that. What do you say to all of that, Phil? How does the accumulation of process bring from light and dark to the pineal event that creates that again? Answer that question for me. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean?
I was going to say, all those religious books were written by people who have compassion for you. They want you to see and understand the deeper reality that they found out that is not immediately obvious. That's all. That's all
it's certainly not immediately obvious. No, not at all. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, that's like me or you or anybody that has seen, that has felt the pull towards the truth and has seen the light, so to speak, and not literally, but you know what I mean? You can't convey that to anybody else but yourself. Nobody's going to believe you until, like Yvonne said in chat earlier, you said it many times, until you experience it yourself, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, I mean, it's just about being able to understand it when you get to that point, right?
Yeah, and obviously, when you do get there, you realize that you're able to talk in certain terms, and if you go out into the world, you realize then that people will recognize that what you're saying about yourself is correct. That you're not just blowing in the air. That hey everybody, I'm superb. Like, I've seen people online claiming to be the Messiah, and it's like, oh my God. So do you even know what that word means? Oh, it turns out no, they don't even know what it means, because they go on it. There was some guy in some Christian group in America in the Bible Belt who thought he was the Messiah, and he was making YouTube videos very dramatically. Oh my God, I'm the Messiah. Isn't it amazing? Oh my God, as if everything revolves around being that, and just shut up about that for a second and actually prove that you're that instead of saying you're that. You prove it. Don't just say you're that, because any idiot can say that.
It's kind of it ties into like narcissism and mental illness, though, doesn't it? Really,
definitely, absolutely, mental illness.
You have tweakers that will smoke too much meth and suddenly they think they're Jesus, or people take LSD and they think they're Jesus and try and walk on water and fucking drown. Like, this shit happens. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, it's all bizarre.
But
it
definitely pertains to mental illness. That does.
I have one question that I just came to mind, and it's maybe off topic, and I don't want to blindside you, Phil.
That's right.
What is the 144,000 about?
Right, and fundamentally, it's an issue of your physiology, the 144,000, because Revelations is talking about the nature of your physiology in terms of ascension and the awakening and opening of your chakra system. That's what Revelations is about. Yep. It's about you and your ascension through the chakra system. It's basically talking to you about yoga. That's Revelations. No Christian will be able to tell you that that's about yoga, will they? Right. They know it's the end of the world. It's the end of days. We're all doomed, and only those who love God will find God in heaven. Everybody else is doomed. Oh well, never mind. Who cares? It's just like, what? Where's your compassion all of a sudden? You don't care. You think you want to condemn people to hell, do you? My God, what's wrong with you? Well, why are you doing that? Why do Christians do that?
Condemning them back here repeatedly.
They condemn everybody else who isn't a Christian. There's something terribly wrong with that. That is mental illness.
Especially the Catholics.
Especially the Catholics.
Especially the Irish Catholics.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm half Irish. I got Irish Catholic family on my dad's side of the family. I know exactly what you're on about with
Father Ted.
There's always a family feud for some reason or another. Someone did this. Someone. Oh my God.
Yeah.
When you brought up the mental issue, people are always come at me with this question. So like somebody that has mental issues and they're unable to make these connections. what do you say to that? I mean, that's
Well, yeah, everybody has certain mental issues, including me when I was young. I had mental issues. I had emotional trauma, etc., which caused mental issues.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop me. Even if you have those issues, it's not going to stop you.
I'm talking about people.
A mental issue is a temporary offset of a balanced mentality.
Yeah.
Basically,
Steve,
that's all.
That question, like, what was the question again?
Well, people, because say I'm a little slow and I fell and hit my head when I was younger, and I'm not going to be able to ascend. I'm just, people say, well, then you're just plain screwed.
Well, that you're talking about brain damage there, right?
Well,
but
yeah.
in terms of mental illness,
that's brain damage.
The blackening will make you mentally ill. You become mentally ill when you first start looking for truth. You go well, I know in my own experience, I went fucking batshit crazy for about 10 years. Like literally, I'm not joking. I went fucking insane. Like, I really was like lost I was in a dark place, So.
But you don't understand what I'm getting at, Phil. It's like,
I understand. Go on.
The Enlightenment thing seems like it's an inefficient system because only a few seem to achieve it in their lifetime out of billions. What's with that?
But that sounds like somebody thinking in terms of, if you don't make it in this life, you're screwed. That's not true. Well, you don't have to make it in this life. It takes thousands of lifetimes sometimes. So what if you're not going to make it for another 100 lifetimes? Why do you have to do it now? As I said before, there's no rush.
That's where you gotta be still.
There's no rush.
Remember,
there is no desperate time limit to this. No one's at a gate saying, "Come on, you're running out of time." Yeah, you're running out of time. That doesn't exist. You've got all the time in the world to do this whenever you want to. You don't have to do it this time. You can do it in 1,000 years' time. It's up to you. You have free will. It's just entirely up to you. Don't forget that.
Remember, Phil, society is geared towards instant gratification, though.
Yes.
That's one of the issues.
That's right.
There's the process of long-term goals. It's like, no, I don't want that. Like,
Yeah,
let me get a huge bank loan and have everything I want right now.
That's what I was
worry
going to
do. It later.
Hey, as soon as I found out Corona happened, I wanted to go get me the biggest truck loan there was.
Go to the grave broke, you know.
Well, whatever. I can't bring it with me, and I don't want to leave it for my kids to fight over. You know, right?
But you'll be surprised. You know, when you leave your body, it's surprising because it's still you. And you think, oh, there's no problem. I can just go and I have another life. Well, what's the issue? There's no rush. Honestly, there is no rush.
I got into a heated debate with Jack here about Akhenaten.
We did.
A little bit about Akhenaten.
It wasn't a heated debate.
Well, it was a totally contrasted experience, I guess we could say.
Right. So I read about Akhenaten in Manly P. Hall's book, The Secret Destiny of America.
Mm-hmm.
And Manly P. Hall paints this just exquisitely beautiful picture of Akhenaten, how he was the first monotheist that rejected the priesthood of Ra, and he was able to put all the archetypes of the gods and refine it into the singular monad, basically. I'm totally paraphrasing him, right? But that, like, I read that and I was like, oh my God, Akhenaten, he was like so fucking beautiful. Like, wow, what a king, what a true king. And then so I tell Steve, like, you're shaking your head. And then I tell Steve about it, and Steve's like, nah, fuck him. He was the first Rothschild. I said, hey.
Think about it. He was the one that started selling religion, man.
Yeah, you know, he was every recording of him was desecrated after he died.
Yes, exactly.
They wanted to remove him from the records. I don't blame them.
Why?
I don't blame them at all. I don't. Manly P. Hall is an intellectual, very, very eloquent speaker. but he wasn't illuminated. Otherwise, he would have instantly recognized what had been done by Akhenaten. I know what Akhenaten's done.
Well, go on. Like, settle this. Like, put me out of my ignorance with respect to Akhenaten.
So if somebody's going to be intellectual and literary about Akhenaten, Manly P. Hall is simply repeating what I've heard from the Rosicrucians.
Right, that makes sense. That makes sense.
They revere Akhenaten, and for all the wrong reasons. I want them to come and have a talk with me, because I need to pull the rug from under their feet, because people have an arrogance where they think they know things. The illusion of knowledge is very, very powerful.
Right.
It's very powerful. So you can think, well, I don't see anything wrong with Akhenaten. He expressed the Lamb of God in symbolic and literal terms. What's wrong with that? Well, he basically told people it was the sun in the sky. And he wanted his population to be so ignorant that he would remain their king while not being royal. A royal person is an illuminated God, and he wasn't illuminated. If you look at his behavior, I've seen documentaries about his behavior as a king. That's the kind of person I would pull off a chariot and beat to a pulp.
What, like
not now, but I'm saying at the time, if I saw that behavior from anyone, even if he's a king, I would take him to task over it, because that is not the behavior of a king, I'm afraid. That's the behavior of a narcissistic scumbag who simply knows the mysteries intellectually and repeats them, repackages it for his own regime. He changes everything in Egypt. He removes people's jobs. He ruins people's lives. And for what? It came to nothing. It came to nothing. Armana came to nothing.
He was the first propaganda.
The guy was a waste of space. I'm sorry, but he was a waste of space. Wow. If you want to revere someone in Egypt, I'd revere Ramesses. Or somebody worthy.
Or your mega P's, like how you made the mega P's analogy to Jesus. You know, Jesus is just a thing. He's not, he's like my bag of peas. If you're gonna worship my Jesus, you might as well worship my bag of peas.
Kind of. Yeah, there's no point in worshiping an object.
Yes. And do you think Akhenaten was the first? I won't even go there, but yeah. You know what I'm getting at.
Monotheistic? No, of course not.
No, I mean the first propaganda machine type. The first media steering the world.
Apparently he was Hyksos line, and they have a certain attitude. That race of people has a certain attitude, like people with red hair have a certain sort of fiery, angry sort of or aggressive nature. This kind of thing. It's genetic. It's part of his genetic makeup to be a bit of a so-and-so, as you might say, not someone who deals with their problems properly. Look at how he grew up. The guy had an inferiority complex. That's a problem.
Right, and yeah. Do you know about KV-55?
Yeah, I've seen the documentaries about it. Yeah.
Do you think that is Akhenaten's tomb?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't have thought he would have been buried in the Valley of the Kings at all, because he was absolutely hated.
Yeah, he was Tutankhamun's father, right?
Akhenaten was Tutankhamun's father. That's right.
Yes, King Tut. And there's rumors that there was a false room behind Tut's.
Tut was murdered.
Yes.
No question. There's no question, because he was the son of Akhenaten.
Wasn't he a product of incest too, though?
Say again?
Wasn't Tut a product of incest?
Quite possibly, yeah. I think Akhenaten's Queen Nefertiti, I'm not sure how she was related to Akhenaten, but there may have been a relation.
She was his sister.
They're saying she was his sister.
I think so, yeah.
I'm not sure. That. Maybe I don't know the ins and outs of that, but it may well be the case, because Tutankhamun had physical problems.
Yeah, apparently he was very disfigured because of incest, because they were trying to recreate the Isis and Osiris story myth, but play it out physically. So
thank you. I wanted to bring that up.
Akhenaten wanted to present himself as if he was Osiris, as if he was a regular pharaoh, somebody to be respected.
You were supposed to be ascended to be a pharaoh, right?
Yeah, an actual, if you're, oh, sorry, I'm too loud apparently. An actual king is an ascended person. So I'm technically a king. So
Yes.
if you ascend, you're a king. It's just a term for you. Somebody who can wield judgment correctly because they know the truth. That's all.
Yes.
So it's about knowing it, being in a position of authority that knows.
Hey, I got a question then that relates to what you just said. So, you know, William and Kate, their son, I don't know what's he called, Daniel. I don't know.
George, the new
George.
one?
George. Yeah. Prince George. Do you think he lived a righteous life and he would like navigated the Bardo to come back as the heir to the British throne?
Not necessarily, no.
So could just be tied into lineage of family karma.
But no, as we said before, it's not what you've got; it's how you use it. You can be born into poverty or riches; it doesn't matter. Who was it? Buddha? I think it was Buddha who was born as a prince, and he left it all.
Yes.
Right. So it doesn't matter what you're born into. Prince George is born in. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you've controlled your way through the Bardo. It's not what you get; it's how you use it. Yeah. So as a rich person.
I'm laughing, Ben, because when you compared Buddha to leaving his palace and his royal duties, Prince Harry popped in my head, comparing him to Buddha. Sorry, that was funny. I apologize.
The word Israel, you know, the Israeli of the Bible, you know, like the Jew, you know, all of these ethnic descriptive, you know what I mean, placeholders for religions, for people, for races. Explain what Israel means in the Bible, Phil.
Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. It's the three columns on the tree of life. The title Israel says you have completed the tree of life. So my title is Israel. It's just a title. It's just like saying you've completed the tree of life.
Or one who's wrestled with God is another term, isn't it?
You could put it like that. If there's no wrestling with God, obviously, but
no, wrestled with God, i.e., undertaken the great work.
Yeah. Because I'm a Jew, but I'm not Jewish. I wasn't born Jewish, but I'm a Jew. An illuminated person is a Jew. That's what a Jew is.
I had an argument with a Jewish guy online. He said you can only be a Jew by virtue of something.
Your mum, the mother.
The matriarchal.
Yeah, no, that's the
matrial lineage. I forget the word. And I said to him, no, that's not true. And he got really offended. And
yeah, of course he would.
Called me anti-Semitic, etc.
Yeah, well, that's stupidity. That's just foolishness. He doesn't know. Jews are very arrogant.
Well, yeah, because we're the goy, and they're going to get 2,000 goyim slaves once the real Jesus, comes back. It's really bizarre.
Dude, you see how messed up even Jews are? See, it's the Abrahamic faith. The three Abrahamic faiths are the most messed up on the planet.
Yeah, but they're so okay, let's not talk about the Quran, but like the Torah and the Bible are so good once you understand what they're actually talking about.
Well, you have
it's like they're the most beautiful thing, you know, but yeah, I guess. See, it makes, like, going back to what you said, Steve, about, you know, it just landed on your lap. Like, see, I had to go through like 10 years of torture and psychosis to come to this understanding, right? Like, it's something that most people aren't prepared to do in order to have that aha moment where they intellectually understand what's really going on. And it helps if you have a good teacher along the way, right? But yeah, again, Steve, I think you're selling yourself short by thinking that. I think you're negating all that pain and suffering you've gone through in your life, you know? Like,
or it was just my choice to, like Phil said, is to, you know, to meet you fine gentlemen and spread the word, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that when I look at some of the videos we did before, interviews, the views under the video is still increasing.
Yes.
I find I look at things like that just to sort of gauge how interested people are in it, you know, and how.
That brings me to this question. Okay, so I don't have the Wilcox name tied to my product or to my message. So do we commercialize our message, or will it not be commercialized because it is the message? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, but you can do whatever you want with it. You know, I'm not going to say anything. If you wanna write your own book and put it out there and get it published, it's up to you.
I've started doing that, by the way.
So you understand what I mean by that? Why isn't our message growing like the Wilcox brand is? You know.
Oh, because they've got loads of money behind them, and they've got the usual, you know, the production value and how professional they look. Maybe they seem quite serious. They must know what they're talking about. People judge things very, very in a very shallow way. They'll look at you and think, well, you look a bit of a mess. I don't like you. I'm not going to listen to you. That's it.
You know, on that point, you know, I watched a Robbie Williams podcast. You know, the pop star from Take That, famous British pop star, Steve, and for the Americans. I watched his podcast, and he's doing the great work. I couldn't believe it. He was doing the great work without like realizing he's doing it. Some guy was chatting to him about conspiracies and finding the truth of the zeitgeist, as I said, and he wasn't interested in it. And he was like, that may be the case, but I'm not interested. I was amazed to hear him, and he was very genuine and sincere. I was really impressed. You should send him a message, Phil. Maybe that might get a bit more coverage if you had someone like that. You know. Oh, hello.
Well, they don't listen to the likes of it. It's like trying to ask, you know, certain people online questions. They never respond to you unless you put up a super chat or, you know, donate to their fund, or, you know. And I find it interesting, if you just look for where there is not money, that's probably where the truth is going to be.
Well, yeah, of course, because it's like I said, this guy with his fucking Lamborghini teaching you how you can get instant results from your pineal gland meditation, and you can pay him 10,000, you know, equivalent of $12,000 for a 1 week spiritual boot camp. I mean, come on, like.
So what do you say to that, Phil? I mean, to what we're talking about here. Do you commercialize? I mean, you cannot commercialize truth, can you?
You can do whatever you want. It's as simple as that. You can do whatever you want. If you want to commercialize it, it's up to you. If people want to pay you money for it, it's up to them. I don't worry about all that sort of thing. It's none of my business. People do what they do.
Well, I'm not asking for permission. I'm just trying to figure out. You know, it's the old adage: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I didn't commercialize it for various reasons. I mean, I've got a book on Amazon. Okay, fine, you can buy it, but it's free under my videos anyway. And I just thought, because it's the truth, I don't want to charge people. And it was so easy for me to write. I didn't feel as though it was any effort. You know, I just thought, well, nobody wants to publish it anyway, because it's such a small subject. Very few people are interested in this subject anyway. And that's what publishers told me. They said, there's not enough interest in this subject. You're going to have to publish it yourself. So I did.
You know, on that point, you say very few people are interested in this subject. It really makes me like ponder if like we are generally like very old souls and like very, very like tired. You know, because I there's this meditation from this poem, and I put this video up. It's like rest in peace, rest in great natural peace, this exhausted mind. And I heard it, and it just struck such a chord with me. It almost brought me to tears, because there's a deep part of myself where I just feel so exhausted with like, you know, the idea of like rest is just so appealing to my psyche. Something my wife doesn't really understand. She's like, but you can just have another lifetime. And I'm like, you know, I don't want that.
That sounds like what was happening a few days before I had spiritual union. I actually felt in here almost like a calling to be still. There was a sensation in my chest that wanted me to be physically still so that I could appreciate it. So it sounds a bit like what you're saying there. Like I wanted to rest.
Well, this is it. This is why I do the Golden Dawn self-initiation, because it has the daily meditations where you need to just bring your consciousness to rest for as long as possible, you know. And reading Pete Carroll's book, Liber Null, just fucking like his methodology of meditation has just really put it up into another level and another gear. Steve can't meditate because he's a Gemini, apparently.
Well, check this out. I've read 2.5 books my whole life, and yours is one of them, Phil. How do I, you know what I mean? How do I reach the same conclusions as somebody like Jack, who's read his eyeballs out of his head, you know, and other people?
It's not the amount you read, it's the quality of what you read.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
There was a quote from the Oxford librarian, I forget his name. He's in this library with these, you know, hundreds of thousands of books. And he said, the key is not to read every book in this library. The key is to read the right books in this library. So, that's a very good point. So a lot of searching and finding the truth is finding things that are actually worth looking at.
Clay, right?
Say?
The clay that we make the bricks from, and that whole
you need decent clay, and you need to process the clay. It's not just gluing bits of information together. You need to actually think about it, and the result of your thinking, when you understand the little issue there, that's your brick. So the bricks are understandings. They're not simply glued information together. They're already processed.
Yeah, you've made comparisons, and
you make you compare a lot of things, and the principle in physics is to compare quantities. That's all counting is based on the comparison of quantities to number one. That's it. It's the only comparison you ever make.
If Yvonne says, "What about kids that are born Buddha?"
Say again.
What about children that are born Buddha? You know, they're the next Buddha, or the
Dalai Lama.
Dalai Lama, that sort of
thing. You're talking about someone who's very highly evolved spiritually that have come in on purpose to be that on the planet. It's a very rare occasion when that happens. It's a great rarity. Anyone can claim that, by the way. Remember, anyone can claim anything for themselves, but how are they going to prove it?
And who are they going to prove it to, and why do they want to prove it?
Yeah, there's a guy in, I don't know where he is at the moment, it's maybe India or Tibet or something, I can't remember where he is, but he wears these white robes all the time. He's got long black hair, he looks Chinese, he looks very placid. Some people think he's the next Buddha. He talks as if he's Buddha. I don't know whether he's genuine. There's nothing about him that says this is a great person to me. I'm not saying he's not. I'm simply saying he hasn't displayed anything that would make me think that is a genuine Buddha man on earth, I'm afraid.
Right.
Very easy for people to make claims and give a presentation to you that makes it look like they're fantastic or something. You really have to prod these people and poke at them and not be frightened of their, hey, get away from me, I'm too good for you bullshit. Forget that. They should be able to talk to you like a regular person. Like a guru in his ashram I saw in India on a TV program. The people in the ashram were told to clean an area. And as I saw them filmed going into the area to clean it, I thought, where's the guru? He should be at the front of the queue. He should be the one leading them. Yeah, not the one standing on the top of the stairs saying, I'm too good for all this, everybody. I'm so godly. Really? Well, get your hands dirty and get stuck in there, mate, because you're the one who's supposed to be first. If you're so godly, get on with it.
Well, this is it.
You're full of yourself. You're full of yourself? Then you're not a guru. Go away. Go and grow up.
Yeah, this is it. This is my point. You know, a lot of these gurus, whenever they claim they're the reincarnation of someone, it's always like a great, prominent, celebrated historical figure. It's never like a humble dude that worked on a farm in Kenya that no one knows. Like it's always someone. Do you know what I mean? It's like, see, this is
like
why
Saddam Hussein was Nebuchadnezzar.
That's
yeah,
ego.
yeah.
It's nothing but ego. That.
Well, this is it. This is why I really despise Till Swan. I mean, look, if she didn't have control of my sister's mind, I wouldn't care. But she says she's the reincarnation of Sai Baba, who led his own sect of Hinduism and has his own. No, he was an Illuminate who basically, I think he followed Kali from the pantheon. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah,
it's like.
Why would you bother telling anyone that?
Because you're a psychopath and you want their money and you want to control them. That's why. That's why.
This is completely unnecessary to say that. The people you're talking to, they can't confirm that or deny it.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's pathological behavior.
Yeah.
And it's about your narcissistic omnipotence and your grandiosity, having a lot of followers. So you can get narcissistic supply from all these people that buy your books and come to your seminars.
And then it turns into it turns into personality worship.
You know, I want to go to one of her seminars and be like, "You're a fucking fake and a fraud." And
how many people have told her that already? Like it's like you're sweat off of her back, and she don't
like.
What I mean, first of all, why do you?
I'm so angry because my sister is in a deep state of psychosis because of her. She's totally drunk the Kool-Aid. I said to my dad,
"It's not your fault."
No, I know it's not my fault, but obviously, like, you know, when someone's in a cult, you kidnap them. Like family members, they'll kidnap them from the cult, take them in a van, drive them off somewhere, and for 3 days they'll deprogram them, right? So they come back to normal. And logic is restored in the mind of the victim of the cult, right? You know that's what they do. Like, I literally feel like I need to do that to my sister. Like, I need some kind of intervention. You know, I just.
That's up to you, man. That's up to you.
But it's kind of like personal. That's all I'm saying. I don't. It's not like I take it personally. It's just, I don't know.
Whenever you don't want it happening.
Last time I tried to deprogram her, I said, "Look, she's a sociopath." My sister was like, "You're projecting. This is a defense mechanism because of your own."
Dude, just tell her to go and look at some psychology or a psychologist. She'll soon recognize her own behavior. She needs to see her own behavior played back to her, basically.
Phil, you're getting a little late there in the UK?
It's late.
Do you want to return some other day and continue?
Yeah. My laptop is seriously overheating at the moment. It just froze you for about 20 seconds about 3 minutes ago. I thought I'd lost you all.
Yeah, but I don't want any undue heat coming down on you from the significant other either. So happy life, happy wife, right?
Well.
Girlfriend.
Not really.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, I mean, if we can continue this later, I mean, I'd like to get together with you guys maybe once every 2 weeks or something as a regular thing, so people can hang their hat on our discussions. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know it's hard to pin you down, but
I can certainly do that for now. I don't know when I'm going back to work yet.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be, because of the time difference from San Diego and London. I'll only be able to do weekends, Phil. So bear that in mind. I won't be able to do any weekday just because, I get off work at midnight GMT. So that ain't happening,
Yeah, sure.
So
yeah.
But my point is we'll let you go here, Phil, and we appreciate you coming on and talking with us. And
I got to go and I'll go in for coffee with Lieutenant Dan anyway. And he's been calling me. I feel bad. I got to take him out for coffee. He's good. He's good.
Okay.
Thanks to everybody, and sorry about the technical issues earlier, guys. I had there was some ransomware attack on my computer as what was going on. So there's something trying to take over my computer and run the show, but I apologize for the technical issues, and thanks for sticking with us, and thanks for the awesome discussion, you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you to everyone in the chat. Like, sorry if I've been annoying and etc. I apologize for my own character deficits.
You got nothing to apologize for.
No, I enjoyed it. Thanks for I appreciate it.
Yeah, always.
Ditto.
Yeah.
But
Speak
thanks,
soon, guys. Yeah.
Love, peace, chicken grease.
Yeah. Take care.
Take it easy. Oh.